Because demonstrations, picketing, it's allowed, it's your right. But then the moment you arm yourself, the moment you have, and if I can remember correctly, that's one of the things that the IG spoke about and said, if you're having stones, yeah, right, you're carrying stones, that cannot be a peaceful demonstration, because why are you carrying stones if it's peaceful? So I think what we're seeing is, in terms of interpretation, number one, because these, the Azimio guys are saying, we have come and we've declared that we're going to have demonstrations, and they're going to be peaceful demonstrations. We cannot fault them on that. But then the question is, how do they guarantee that there's not going to be any violence? Because if you come and say, this is what we're going to do, then at that particular point, the police are supposed to say, okay, you've given us a notice, and we are going to ensure and facilitate that you're going to have peaceful demonstrations. But then the harder part is when you have elements that look like they're part of Azimio, that will then come and do, bring about the vandalism. At that particular point, the police are able to say, you see, at this particular point, we are not able to guarantee the security and safety of other wananchi. And so we cannot allow you to proceed with your planned demonstration unless we work together, because it's not just the responsibility of Azimio, and it's not just the responsibility of the police to keep the peace. They're supposed to work together. And that's what I believe we're not seeing, that them working together to come and say, how do we work together to ensure that this is going to be peaceful?
But you've talked about the police. Last week, of course, they said, and the regional commander, that is Mr. Adamson Bungea, said they received the notice late. But this time round, the notice was sent on Monday this week, on Monday last week, I believe. Yeah. But again, they rejected the notice. They said they will not allow the demonstrations to go on. Is Mr. Adamson Bungea right on that? Because if at all they've given the notice 7 days even before the demonstrations, what reason is there for the police to decline to provide security?
Well, I remember what they were asked to do was to give the notice to the various OCSs at the various police stations. And what Koome said was, for instance, if you're saying that you want access to the server, right? But then you're taking you're taking a notice to go and demonstrate in certain streets or certain areas where necessarily the people that you're demonstrating against are not in that particular area. Because if you're demonstrating, you need to be able to go to, for instance, as I said earlier, they wanted to go to State House or to Harambee House, right? But then if you're going to go towards Kamukunji, right, you're going towards KICC, the police are asking, why are you going to demonstrate in those areas if they've got nothing to do with the reason why you're demonstrating? It's a very thin line, and I think the police are just exploiting that, right? But then the question is, okay, who's going to fault them? If they say you are supposed to be going in a certain direction, if this is why you're demonstrating, then you're supposed to be going in this direction. Why are you going in the opposite direction where people who have got nothing to do with your demonstration are based? That means you're going to disrupt people who have got nothing to do with what you're demonstrating about. So why don't you direct your demonstrations in the right direction? So it's a catch-22, because as we stated, initially that say they're going to storm State House. We've already said that if you try and storm State House, then you'll put into motion other aspects of the whole security security apparatus, and we talk about the security of the presidency and all that. So going to State House will or any of these government installations could spell disaster for Azimio. But at the same time, that is where they need to be able to go to agitate for what they are asking for. So they're in a catch-22, if you ask me.
Mr. Jim, now, like Sikolia says, they're in a catch-22 sort of situation. If they cannot proceed to the government installations or government institutions, offices where they need to, address their issues, and they, resort to just demonstrating and picketing on the streets, what is the end game? For how long can they do that if they cannot be able to engage and face the elephant in the room head on?
So number one, the moment that the IG of police has declared the demonstrations illegal, using whichever powers he imagines he has, right? Because the Constitution, there's no law that gives him the powers to declare any demonstration illegal. But see, there is absolutely no way that then the demonstrations will be peaceful. You get, because he's already said they're illegal, but the other party are also adamant that they're going to show up. So it means that there is absolutely no way, to begin with, that today's demonstrations are going to be peaceful. So either the police will be rioting or the people will be rioting. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a problem. But number two, you also do not engage people who refuse to be engaged. You have had the president, the deputy president, who are interested parties in this case that is being prosecuted in the public domain, refuse to be engaged. And so and you've also had Raila Odinga refuse, and his brigade say they do not want a handshake. Now, the only way that they will engage is if they sit down and talk. Both parties maintain that they do not want to talk, right? So the Azimio side and the government side both say that they do not want to talk. So in that situation, if you have issues, Azimio have issues, but you're saying that you do not want to speak with the people who have the powers to do something about the issues that you have, then that becomes difficult. But remember this, you've asked the question, how long can they do this? They can do this as long as they want.